So, hey everyone. Some of you probably have seen this before. We were just talking prior to the start of the webinar. This is actually Gary's fifth time doing Open Web Tools. I'm the newbie here, joining him for the third, I guess the fifth installment. I did the last three with you, Gary. And Gary and I are the proud proprietors of InfoDJ. This is a service that he and I have put together and co-founded, and we provide research services to innovation companies and folks writing white papers, whoever needs some just-in-time authoritative research. And in addition to that, we also, being curators and curious collectors of lists, put together things like what you're going to see today, Open Web Tools. So Gary, maybe if you want, just what's the origin of Open Web Tools? Why did you start this 5 years ago? And what is an open web tool?
Yeah, we have a little bit different definition. By the way, nice to virtually see you, everyone. I'm thinking of you in my head and all your smiling faces. At that point, in doing my daily work on InfoDocket.com, I was coming across all these great open, and by open, in our definition of open, and everybody's got many definitions. But our definition is that it's available and the end user doesn't have to, put in a credit card or subscribe to the service. That's how we're defining open. But these are the types of resources with credible information that librarians not that long ago dreamt of being able to access. And this also includes digital collections. This also includes, news sites, a variety of resources, which we'll highlight this afternoon. So my goal when I started this was just to highlight, like we're doing today, some of this great content and get people excited about what's available on the open web. That's how it started. And let me also mention that in addition to doing InfoDocket, which I know many of you are aware of, InfoDocket.com, since the pandemic began, and I'll put the URL in the chat, I've also started doing a daily news roundup of library news, new resource news, some higher education news for the Association of Research Libraries, for ARL, and it's called ARL Day in Review. It's free. It's available as a website and a daily newsletter sent Monday through Thursday at about 3:30, 4 o'clock every afternoon. So I invite all of you to visit both InfoDocket and ARL Day in Review. And if you like what you see with Day in Review, I hope you subscribe. So why don't we kick it off?
All right.
And re-kick.
Yes. So clearly more than we can do in a quick 30, 40-minute session. So Gary, I'm just going to call out some of our faves, maybe some of the recent ones that are new and updated.
And by the way, this is a living document. This is a living document.
Yeah, and folks are already, I'm sure, wondering, will they get a copy of the document? Yes, we'll provide a place for you to get access at the end. But you got to stay for the whole thing, okay? Hang with us. And so, all right, so I'm going to start just up at the top, Gary, and I think I'd love to just talk about maybe something people know about, but some features of the Wayback Machine that maybe are not as well known. So let me pull up, first of all, what is batch process? What's the big deal about batch processing?
Well, batch processing is a service that's free. All you need is an Internet Archive login, which is free and takes you about 20 seconds to register for. This is a subsection, if you like, of another service called Save Page Now. And specifically with batch process is that you can grab as many URLs as you like, up to 50,000 per sheet, submit it for free by clicking through the prompts, and then, for example, go out for lunch, take a nap, go to sleep for the evening. And when you wake up, depending on how many URLs you're submitting, Wayback Machine will have archived all of them with direct links to all the archived versions. You've also contributed making the Wayback Machine more complete, more robust. And this is what Save Page Now, this is a one-off. So for example, you could put in any URL. Curtis, do you want to do a quick example?
Yeah, sure. And what should we archive? And
why don't we just type in, NY Times or CNN or something?
All right.
Okay. And it's important before you click Save Page to click.
Oops.
Okay, let's go back. Let's do CNN. Let's do
All right.
CNN because that one was done, and it will only archive a page once every 45 minutes. So now click Save Outlinks. And this is really important, ladies and gentlemen. This will not only archive CNN.com at this exact moment in time, but in a second or two, it will catch up and it will find all the outbound links on that particular page, in this case, CNN.com, and it will archive or re-archive all of them at the same time. So now you have a much more robust version of what someone saw at any given moment in time. Right. You will see CNN.com, but as well as, if you scroll down, Curtis, all of these there we go. All those outbound links with one click are now also being archived either for the first time or re-archived. And I think it's important not only to obviously archive as much as possible, but to make sure that we're re-archiving it on a regular basis, because as we know, it's very, very easy to change a web page.
And be big-hearted and give a little bit to Brewster and team. Chip in a little bit each year.
And let me also mention, this also works with PDFs. And if it's a true PDF, it will follow the links and archive all of those in the document.
Cool. So I'm going to keep us moving because, we want to get through at least 10 or 12 of these, at least a dozen today. How about this as a new one we've located recently, climate change laws?
Right. This is just a simple database with country profiles, visualization, comes from Columbia University's law school and the Sabin Center and the institution listed at the top of the page. But it's just a one-stop shop from an authoritative source, which is important, on climate change law. So they are doing the aggregation, the analysis, putting it in one place and making all of it searchable. And again, so this is the Canadian page that lists laws, policies, cases, climate targets, so on and so forth. So again, it's an expert-driven database that's available for free on the open web. And remember, what we're showing you today is just scratching the surface on any topic you can imagine. And one of the things that we hope to do we plan to do, I should say, is update and share new resources and new discoveries on the webpage over time.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you. That's great.
Sure.
And again, you will have access to all of this after the session today. So how about this? This is we do like just some fun apps and cool tools. And this one is new out of Microsoft, and it's for folks that are visually handicapped or challenged.
Right.
And it's the accessibility space. Yeah.
Right. This is an app, pretty straightforward, and it will do all sorts of things to help with accessibility. It will speak the text. It will provide audio guidance, as it says under documents, to capture a printed page. Right. It will recognize a person in the image. It will recognize the scene. As a matter of fact, I took a picture of myself, uploaded it to the app. It recognized the person, not me by name, not at least at this point, but it also took a guess on my age. And amazingly, it was within 1 year of being completely accurate. Yeah, so it's a suite of tools from Microsoft. And I should say that, a lot of this stuff, in this case, these tools have been around for a couple of years, but it's important to go back and check, because I noticed when I've been using this in the last few months that the technology in terms of what it can recognize and how well it recognizes something is much better than it was just a year ago. So I think that's really important to keep looking, keep testing, because the technology is often getting better.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, if you that middle box there, Curtis, recognize friends and their facial expressions, you can actually associate someone's picture and give them a name, and then next time you take that person appears in the image, it will recognize and actually name that specific person. So it's facial recognition based on people that you've added to your local app.
Right. I love that. And I think this part's really cool too. Turns the visual world into an audible experience.
Yeah.
That's really
And
great.
we have another app similar to that from Microsoft, also listed, which is called Soundscapes, and actually describes what your what you're walking by. So, for example, you're walking 100 feet away from a McDonald's or a Subway or whatever, it will say Subway 100 feet ahead.
Exactly. Let's jump into digital news and media. Here's something new. What's this one out of Germany?
Right. We wanted to include some non-US material, and this is a Google Translate version of a news article, just to say that this is not the translated article, but this is the website from the German National Library, DNB, and they recently launched their database of digitized historic newspapers back to 1671 up to 1950, similar to Chronicling America. This is the German National Library version of German newspapers.
Yeah, perfect.
Pretty straightforward.
I won't do a search on that. There's a couple other cool
ones. Let's take a look at Rev real quick.
Yeah.
Line number 15.
Yep.
This is an example of a company. And if we click on resources, this is a company that's doing it's taking speech to text. And if you go to, actually scroll down, I'm sorry. But what they are doing is they're taking news stories and creating a text transcript for them if they don't normally have one. So these are the fee-based services, but we'll actually go back and add the link, and it might be further down on the page.
Yeah.
Since the last time we did this, they moved it.
Well, the Internet Archive has some amazing transcript searching too. Maybe we could present one of those, like the radio news archive.
There's the TV news archive, which is, again,
either of those. They're amazing.
Right. This allows you to keyword search television news almost in real time, or I think it's a day delay.
Here's something my wife and I have been watching recently. Is anybody else a Ted Lasso fan? Let's see. I'm sure there's something being discussed. Yes.
Right. So there you can see that it was discussed on September 20th on the BBC. Click, and you can actually watch the video 30 seconds per click due to copyright limitations.
Here, he is one of the actors and creators of it. I forget his name, but what you do get a clip, which is nice. And
right.
So
and remember, this is coming. All of the major U.S. networks are CNBC, MSNBC, and the like, and also the local network affiliates. I believe most of them are the ones in San Francisco.
Yeah, and let's look at the radio version of that too, which is also really great.
This one is a little is less known, but here they're doing the same thing for hundreds of different radio stations around the U.S. And, for example, they've got multiple BBC channels or stations as well. So again, it's all keyword searchable, speech to text, and you can use it just like you would anything else from the Internet Archive. Those are some of the stations where they're actually capturing the audio from and adding it to the audio archive.
And we should put the caveat, as Brewster does too. If you read the fine print of the site, you know, the software that converts voice to text ain't perfect. So he makes the point that even the word COVID, you know, the most common word we've had over the past 2 years is not captured correctly. It's spelled COVE or something like that. So
this is another example of this. I recently did a presentation. I listed some of my Hall of Fame resources. One for sure is the C-SPAN video library, which is located further down on the page. But that has basically keyword searchable every word that has ever been spoken on C-SPAN, along with all sorts of very useful metadata.
But that one we found more accurate in terms of the text transcript than I think the radio news archive or TV.
And that is coming from in the case of the C-SPAN video library, which is listed, coming from the. I
also want to hit Event Registry. This is a pretty amazing project out of Slovenia, and Gary, I think it's become one of your go-to tools when you're trying.
I use a variety of resources in doing what I do, and this is a database that has a lot of advanced features you do not find from Google News, you do not find from Bing News. Event Registry allows you to register for free and gives you 30 days of news coverage. But there's proximity operators, there's 3 different search modes, and I find things here either first or entirely that I don't see elsewhere. So I think this is an incredibly powerful news search tool that goes under the radar of a lot of people. And another one that we have listed is...
I'm just going to go ahead and just demonstrate concept searching. So it is semantically quite smart. You've got Boolean searching, but also concept searching. And if I search again, just going to go stay with Ted Lasso. No matching. Okay, well, that's interesting. I thought there would be something on that. Give me a
Try
tag
it
that'll
without
work.
try it without the concept search and see if you come up with something.
All right, let's do just plain old simple search mode. Ted France. Well, let's try Ted Guillermo Lasso. There we go. Whoever he is.
There are features, if you go into some of the settings, you can remove duplicates. And there's concept mapping, there's timeline view, there's new source view, a lot of things, a lot of advanced features that you do not find on some of the more well-known news search tools. Now, another excellent news search tool that I often see things that I don't see elsewhere is called News Lookup. It's very bare bones, but the coverage is very good. And I highly recommend. You can also browse if you type in a keyword, type in libraries, for example. Let's see if that will come up. You find things, and there's also a way to browse by categories, which are listed right below the search box. You can browse.
So you mentioned earlier you do ARL day in review. I think I'm starting to see some of your behind the scenes tools. This is where you find some of your good stuff, right? For day in review and.
Right. I'm all over the place, as many of the people probably listening know. I use a variety of tools. One tool that we're not going to show today, but I highly recommend for those of you who are really interested in open curation and knowing things before others is a tool called Website Watcher. And that is really my bread and butter. I'm a Mac person. Website Watcher is only available for PCs. But I've moved to using something called Parallels, put it on my Mac, and it works incredibly well. And basically, it's my own private crawler, and it will check however many pages, however often I want, and actually show me what on the page has changed. So maybe one of these days, I think actually we're doing a session one of these months.
You should mention, yes, we are going to do a session in the spring. It's a follow-on panel sort of half-day workshop, and we're going to pry open tools like Website Watcher and other Gary power tools, how Gary does what he does.
Right.
So, hey, you mentioned Worldcat here, Gary.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the folks here know Worldcat, but what in particular did you want to call out?
What I was going to point out with Worldcat is they are adding more and more digitized resources, many of them open. For example, just last week, OCLC announced a deal with Europeana, that all of that cultural heritage material from Europeana can now be found in Worldcat. What I want to point out, Curtis, is if scroll back up to the top, is that when you do any search, if there's downloadable archival material, you can limit to that in the format section. Right. So, for example, we did a search for Pan Am Airlines here.
Yeah, look at limited. We just pull up the postcard.
Right. So, and this is coming from you click on View Online, you go directly to it, and this is coming from a collection at Springfield College. There we go.
Another use of Worldcat that a lot of folks
So it's a way to find a lot of open material as OCLC is gathering more of it, making deals with organizations like Europeana. I'm finding that Worldcat is a great place, especially if you're trying to share this type of material with others and they don't have the time or the knowledge and they don't have the time to even learn more. Sending them to Worldcat can be a very useful way to find material.
Thank you, OCLC. All right, excellent. How about some cartographic tools? What do we have here that's interesting?
Well, take a look at Map Channels, and it's just a really cool little suite of tools that allow you to do mashups with Google Maps and Mapbox. Pretty straightforward. Lots of different things you can do with it, but I think it's worth mentioning. And
can I pull? I think this one, it being rather timely, I want to pull this up.
Right.
Yeah.
This is from the NOAA, located where I'm located here in Silver Spring, Maryland. And by the way, Curtis, they just relaunched these climate visualization tools, their global climate dashboard.
And they're beautiful. I mean, these are just incredibly rich visualizations.
One of the challenges for the library community, for the information community, is first one, obviously discovering these tools, but making specific parts of these tools even more discoverable. Because right now, while those of us who are listening to this might be able to discover this, the time that most people have, the average researcher, whether they be a college student, mom and dad, or a K-12 teacher or student, they don't have the time and the knowledge to get to a lot of this. So we need to make tools and make this stuff not only better known, but do some analytical cataloging and awareness of these types of resources.
Absolutely. Right.
Let's skip down through health data. Let's talk about the Case Law Project. This launched officially a couple of years ago. It comes from Harvard Law School. They digitized all of their court reporters. Well, one of the things that's really cool is that if you go up into gallery.
Okay. I was getting excited. I was going right into a state there.
If you go up to gallery, there should be, where did it go? There's a way to actually visualize engrams.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I saw it too. Tools.
Trends. So now Curtis just type in a couple of words. And so this is going, unlike Google Books, where you can do the engrams, this is looking at 6 million US legal cases from the Harvard Law School, about 12 billion words in all.
Right. You want to do anything besides apple pie and baseball?
Pick a term.
All right. What's a disruptive technology that came in the past 20 years? Cloud. Okay.
Well, we can try that.
That's not wrong. Cloud. Let's see. Artificial intelligence. AI.
It'll be interesting to see how that varies over. Well, that's not. Let's try the word piracy.Use the other example.
Use their example.
So there's, right.
Yes.
Right. So again, we're just presupposing. I'm sure some of you are probably using this as we speak, but it's a really cool project and is one to be known. And it has value. Again, it has value beyond the legal community. Right. A lot of these tools have a lot of value beyond their intended communities. The sad part is something we need to do better would be to say that marketing and awareness of these resources is something that we all need to do a better job with.
Amen. Let's jump down into the. Oh, okay.
I want to mention just very briefly again.
Yeah.
It's under government data, I believe.
Yep.
The Congressional Research Service reports, the European Parliament. Now, many of you are aware, obviously, that CRS reports from the Congressional Research Service are now available on the open web. They are constantly updated, and by simply going to the portal, running a null search with nothing in the search box, you can just see them as they're updated and published for the first time. But what I do want to point out is that other research organizations from legislatures are doing the same thing. So we've got the European Parliament Research Library, the UK House of Commons, the Canadian. All of those are doing, often on a daily basis, research reports on just about every topic under the sun. And one group of reports I want to add once we're done with this are taking a look at other legislative research organizations by state, because many of them have them. Connecticut comes to mind, California, where they are doing legislative research on a variety of topics. So here, between CRS and the other countries and states, you can get a wide variety of perspectives on a given issue.
Absolutely. Yeah, perfect. I want to hit a couple of these misinformations. I know we got about 10 more minutes, something. Yeah.
Let's talk a document cloud.
Okay.
Document Cloud is really, really awesome. You can become a member of it and upload things, make it public or private. This is a place where a lot of journalists hang out. But what I want to point out to you is just, as Curtis has just put on the screen, what's listed as all documents. These are primary documents, often but not always court filings, not always. that journalists from around the country and around the world are uploading here. All of them are full text searchable. And very often you can click and go directly and download the document. So this is a great place to find documents in the news, as well as documents that have been in the news.
So, when Frances Hogan, the whistleblower from Facebook, I think maybe when she was speaking to Congress, would that have appeared here, for example?
Right. If there was any press releases, they probably
there it is.
The written testimony was probably first posted here. In this case, this is directly her statement as it came from the organization that she's working with on all of this.
Right. And this is the authoritative, citable source, right?
Right. So this, and again, as you can see on the right side of the screen, you can click on the original document and go right to the PDF and get your own copy.
Right.
So again,
cool.
Topics in the news. Again, it's an archive of past documents. It's a very, very useful resource.
How about Hoaxy?
Hoaxy comes from the OSOME, the Observatory on Social Media at Indiana University in Bloomington. They have another tool that's listed called Hoaxy, but we just wanted to point this one out because they are analyzing Twitter and other social media. And in this case, this is one devoted to misinformation spreading about vaccinations.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So again, I believe this one focuses specifically on Twitter. If you scroll down to the bottom, there we go. You can get an idea of the sources that they're looking at and that they're ranking. So you see stuff labeled as mainstream, but you also see sources that they list as, low credibility. Now, obviously, everybody's got a different perspective on some of these sources, but you get the idea.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's terrific. And again, folks, all of this will be available to you momentarily. We're keeping the 72 attendees here because they're waiting for the link to this document.
One of the other things I want to point out are some of the great digital collections, two that have come online in the last couple of months. One is from out of Louisville and is the Muhammad Ali digital collection, an incredible amount of digitized material about Muhammad. All keywords, metadata keyword searchable. And then the one that's listed right below that on the sheet, on the table.
I'm taking a chance. Yeah, there we go. I grew up in Miami, and the Fifth Street Gym was where Muhammad Ali trained for every fight. So there you go.
So that's that. And then the other one is the Indigenous Digital Archive. This has actually been around for a little bit of time. This comes out of New Mexico. And I think this is really important for people to be aware of. Over 500,000 archival documents. And if you click back, Curtis, back to the Airtable, one of the resources listed on this site is that second link, which is digitaltreaties.org, which launched a year or two ago. And this came out of the Library of Congress. And it's the first time some of this material has been digitized and made available online. So I think that's really important to be aware of. An incredible treasure chest of material.
Super. So we got time for maybe a couple more.
Let's talk about Reasonator or Resonator. Reasonator.
Right. I say this is one of my favorite. Resonator.
This is one of my favorite resources. As a data geek, as an information geek, this, as they put it in their own words, Wikidata in pretty. So, Curtis, just click on either Obama or Nelson Mandela under the examples. We'll let this load up. What this is doing, folks, is taking all the data that Wikidata has on a particular person, particular entity, topic, and make it really easy for the end user to see and get a handle on. But of course, because we're trying to show it to you, reload the page. It's not loading at the moment.
I think there it goes. Ye of little faith. It's loading.
Okay, there's a lot of data on this particular person.
There is, yes.
The other thing that I want
there it is.
There
boom,
we go.
Boom, yes.
What I want to show, so there you get, so this can be a great ready reference resource, but look on the right side of the screen where it says external sources. One, this will give you a direct link to all of those external sources that have data on President Obama. But what I often use this for is just a way to learn about digital sources that I might not know about. So it's everything from VF to, just incredible amounts of digitized data that they're accumulating through Wikidata and presenting in a place like Reason.
And that's why it took a while, because it had to aggregate all those external sources into one.
Right. So this is both a ready reference tool for quick answers from authoritative sources, but also just a discovery resource as well.
Wow. I mean, that's really amazing.
There's visualization, the timeline, all of that.
Woo! Yeah. All right. And one more from the open data browser.
Well, actually, since we are low on time, I think let's go to people search. And Curtis, if you don't mind,
let's scare the heck out of them right now.
Yeah, I mean, when my first presentation at Charleston was 5 or 6 years ago, when I went up to the Galliard Center and I showed everybody's, I showed all the unencrypted web traffic going over the Wi-Fi at that particular moment. And this goes along with privacy, but we just want to show you, see if this will load here real quick. There are so many sources on the open web that can provide information about people. And let's see. But one of that I found that, and Curtis and I looked at this yesterday, is called Fast People Search. It's just, there we go.
I never get these right. Let me try. Oh, okay.
Do it again.
Votes. Here we go.
Right.
All right.
And the amount of data that this is the free version of this site. And again, there are so many others that do this, but it really can scare the heck out of you about what they not only know about you, but how, for example, when I searched myself in this database, they had my 21 and 24-year-old niece associated with my name. So this is both, I guess if you're doing research on people and trying to track someone down, this could be very valuable. But from a privacy aspect, Curtis, do you want to put either myself or yourself in there?
I'll be brave. I'll even put my legal name.
Okay, and we'll put in full.
I trust the 67 attendees here.
You're going to know a lot more about Curtis.
Some of this is not correct. My dad is Malcolm Michelson, so that's incorrect. But that's actually his address in Miami Springs. But let's see. Okay.
There's our Curtis. There we are. Our co-host.
Yes.
So we just were talking, and by the way, this is the same if you look myself up but Curtis, would you say, you click on free details, view free details, that green button there.
Yeah.
And click close. There we go.
Yeah. It's
this
scary.
Is primarily accurate stuff, wouldn't you say?
I would say 80% accurate. Some of the phone numbers are off, but some of the people are.
And if you keep scrolling down, what really got both of us was how even people that were not related to, how they've actually, but we know and might have had a dealing with at one point or another.
Right.
How many of those people are listed here and how accurate it is.
Yes. Yeah. My good buddy, Dan Horowitz, who now works for SCIU or maybe StoryCorps, he and I were fellow activists in the 90s in Orlando. And I don't know why we got connected.
I mean, it's just amazing how they're building these relationships.
Crazy.
Both, I guess if you're trying to track someone down, which people are doing, it's useful. But from a privacy aspect, I think it's really important because most people, unless they're taking the time to go through this stuff, don't have any idea of what's out there about them.
Yeah. And so much more we haven't covered here. Maybe we can, one more before we go to questions. We've got a couple questions coming in.
Okay. Let's just show them OneTab.
Okay.
This is a little browser add-on. It's under Utilities, Power Tools.
Yes.
OneTab is something that I couldn't do my job without.
So for bookmarking madness, right? When you have all those tabs open.
When you've got a zillion tabs open, your computer's slowing down or you're just disorganized, you download it to your browser, you right click, you can save tabs one at a time or all of them at the same time. You can save them to share with others, but it's a great tool for organization. so you never lose something, and you've got a record of what might have been open on your screen. Right. And if you have an underpowered computer, it can also free up some speed for you.
Well, then I'll go ahead and pitch in one power tool. I like PopClip. Thanks to Gary, he saved me hours of headaches by using PopClip. Now, this is Mac only, correct, Gary?
Yes.
PopClip? But if you're a Mac person and you're on a site like, I don't know, OneTab or whatever, when I come across something that I want to just very quickly either copy and paste into, don't fail me, feet don't fail me now. Let's see, copy, should automatically, there it is. So an incredible number of tools. Quickly Google something, email this, copy it to the clipboard. I can append items onto the clipboard so I can stack things into my clipboard. I use this constantly. So
and there are all sorts. You can run searches from these search add-ons. So it is a great tool that I also use a lot of.
Yes, you saved me many hours of frustration with that. Texty, I wish we had time to show that. Last year we did show Constellate, which was JSTOR's text and data mining project, and Sage is doing something really cool too. But maybe at this point, we should open up to questions. Gary, there's one you can answer right away. Who or what is behind Document Cloud? Because they didn't see any affiliation there.
It is a group of journalists. I met with the person who's running it, but I don't know the person's name, but it is a journalism organization. They also have another service that allows you to file FOIA, but it is well known in the journalism community. While I take a question, if we have any other questions, I can see if
Let's see. There was another question that came through the Pathable chat. So can you use the Seeing AI, Microsoft Seeing AI, in conjunction with your libguides? How would you fold that into a libguide?
Well,
being that it's an app and
yeah, I mean, people, and again, it could read the text of a libguide.
Right.
I don't know. Again, by the way, if people with these questions want to email us or us, I think we could actually get a little bit more information about your question that I could better answer it or attempt to answer it better.
Yep. And since we did promise, I'm going to go ahead and put the list of resources up. Thank you to attendees, both online and in person. So we have, and I'm just going to put this link in chat here, and Jennifer, our facilitator, thank you, Jennifer. She will pass this through to the folks in Pathable. So hopefully everybody has access to that. So we are making Open Web Tools a live doc. We are going to keep it updated with your help. So kind of our own version of a wiki here. So on this page, you can click submit to us. Obviously we're scratching the surface. We've probably got 5%, if that, of some amazing open web tools out there. So we want the Charleston community's help. If you click submit to us, you can throw some candidate open web tools our direction. Just pop in the name of the tool, the URL, whatever category you think it might fit in. Give us a note, your email address if you want. It's optional, but that'll get to us, and we will be glad to research it and fold it into our next. And for the person
with the question about Document Cloud, I found it. Document Cloud, if you go to MuckRock, MuckRock, Document Cloud is part of the MuckRock Foundation, and it is run by a gentleman. The co-founder is named Michael Morrissey.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Yep.
And I will add that to the sheet.
Yeah, this is great. Nice.
All right.
Excellent. Any other questions? I think we got just like a minute left here. Thank you, everyone, so much for taking part in this. It's great. And we'll probably be back doing open web tools again at another Charleston.
And if people have questions, comments, we're always available. And as you can probably tell, we like talking about this stuff.
All right. Yep. Definitely love to hear from you. All righty. Thanks, everyone, for attending today.
Thank you.